Around 2005, the Tairawhiti Land Development Trust was begun by the local council and iwi. It was set up to monitor and mentor 6 different projects across 21 farms. Opportunities were identified in kiwifruit, sweet corn and lamb finishing. Chairman of the trust is Kingi Smiler. We met up with him at Paparatu, one of the farms involved in the scheme.
Paparatu is actually part of a major regional initiative for the Gisborne and the Wairoa region. It was developed under a program with Jim Anderton and New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, where they got together with the Gisborne and Wairoa task forces, which were the 2 district councils, along with the 2 major iwi organisations, Turanganui Kiwa, being in Gisborne, and the Ngāti Porou Runanga. And so those were the stakeholders in the program, and it was funded to the tune of 1.8 million by New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, and along with some other funding by both the councils and Ngāti Porou. The task force recognised that agriculture is the major driver of the New Zealand economy. Within their local economy, it was also a major driver of their region, and within that, the Maori blocks, being large scale, the majority of them, had significant potential because for the most case, these blocks were managed by Maori Affairs, and it's only been in the last 20 years where the owners, in fact, have taken back responsibility for the management. There's the Te Taumata, which is about 7 farms, 100,000 stock units, roughly 23,000 hectares, so a reasonably significant collective. And over the total collective, there's probably 21 farms in the region, 250,000 stock units, probably represents close to 25–30% of Māori land in this total region, and probably over 5 or 6% of the total region. So quite significant in that. And it goes from Pōtaka in the east right down to Raupanga in Wairoa is the stretch of the program. But the key aspect, which was trade and enterprise, and everyone was keen on, was actually linking it with the exporters. So all of the programs are linked with exporters, so that there's a direct relationship with the marketplace, and so that not only are they lifting productivity, they're trying to also have that productivity and production focused directly on the markets that they're servicing. We've done a lot of work with the governance teams of all the farms in terms of the strategy of understanding their markets and the major issues that will impact emissions trading schemes, all those environmental concerns. So at a strategic level, all of those matters are being addressed at the governance level, and then with the farm staff and the management teams, working with them to the practical day-to-day activities that they have. One of the key aspects of these programs is we have what we term as mentor farmers, and they are other well-known farmers who are strong performers in their particular region, and they work with the groups to show them what's doable and what's not. The community has to do well, people have to have work, and these programs do all of that, and it just makes the community stronger and work better together. I think the particular uniqueness of Māori is that they're going to retain this land, so they're always going to be farming it. And so there's the ability to realise the economies of scale, and by working together as collectives, those collectives will get stronger. If you look at the rest of the industry, the farms tend to be much, much smaller, and therefore the ability to develop them and integrate them is a lot more difficult. On this particular taumata group of 7 farms, the target was for a 15% lift in production for these particular groups of farms. After the 3 years, they've actually averaged approximately 18%. I'll leave Tom to talk specifically about how this particular farm has done well. It's certainly done well within that group.
We've achieved that, of course, through better genetic control, better fertilisation, better fertility, but at the end of the day, it's about better feeding stock. It's about growing the grass. I know, of course, that issues have surrounded us with regard to fertiliser pricings right now, but still the whole crux of the business, of course, is around the green stuff. I mean, it's about feeding your animals proper. And when I say that, the kilograms of production have come through for us. We have raised our kilograms. When we first started the program, we went back as far as 2000. We wanted, of course, to increase our production, double what we're getting then, which was about 555,000 kgs per annum, so 500,000. And we looked at 2008 as being the focal point of getting up to 1 million kilograms of production per annum, and we weren't too far off the mark by 2008. Just looking at the relevant stuff with regard to our Te Taumata program, is that initially, of course, we were looking at 15% increase in total production. And we've surpassed that, if you can see on the graph here. I am chairman for what they call an amalgamation of Te Whakaari blocks. In the early days, it was quite a number of blocks in the Mangapoiki area, including this property here. And in later years, they decided to amalgamate these blocks and gave it the name, of course, Te Whakaari, which means a revelation or a prediction. Whakaari incorporates about 32,000 acres, of which this property is around about 15,000 acres. These mentor farmers, of course, have been invaluable in terms of helping us to where we currently are at. We have sponsors, the likes of AFCO, PGG Wrightson's, Ravensdown, Veti, ENT. These people, of course, have been part of the group that's helped us to get where we are. In the beginning, there was some apprehension about getting into the program, but I had no qualms about getting into it because I could see the benefits that could be derived from doing it. We need a program like this to continue. We can see the benefits, of course, that are derived by what we're doing now, but we probably need another term to really nail it, to give us a little bit more time to show that we have what it takes to be able to get up there. Right now, we're on top of what we call the staircase, or the zigzag, and all in the area on that side, and including this boundary fence here, is what we call the ngā whenua rāhui. Now, we locked all this away, of course, in perpetuity as a reserve for future generations. There's approximately 762 hectares in this block here, and I think it would be fair to say that there is probably another 700 hectares that we will eventually lock up as well. It wouldn't be practical to farm, so it's best left alone, and we'll tie it up also sometime in the future in Rāhui. We're conservationists. We're not here to plunder the land. We're here, of course, to take care of it. And so those are areas that we've determined for generations to come that will be there. The best sustainable use of our country is what we want. There are also plans for development, and developments, of course, that we've already done up until now, the last 10 years. It's encompassed something like 800 hectares. And so we've done some huge development. By doing that, we've also did our best to protect the environment. We've worked with the Bird Society, we've worked with the honey people, we've worked with the Department of Conservation, with regional councils. People, of course, are interested in protecting the environment. We're looking ahead, of course, to developing that country. We haven't touched it yet. We have a consent to develop a further 532 hectares. Sure, we've borrowed some money, but everything, of course, comes out of performance. There's a reason why, of course, your performance needs to get up there. That's what pays the bills at the end of the day.
There's about 7, 8 farmers that are real practical farmers, and they've got good backgrounds, they're getting high land percentages. They've sort of been in a situation where we've been, and they've sort of jumped in and helped us out, and we've sort of been taking a lot of their advice on board, and it's really helped us out.
It's been now nearly 4 years, so we have another 6 months to go for this existing program to work, and then we've also in the meantime been searching for additional funding sources, because we've reached a stage of development where to take it to the next level needs probably another 3 or 4 years of development. The common purpose of all the organisations clearly has to be led by the governance team and the committee members. If we look at the particular group, we've seen over the 3 years the strategies that have been developed and that have been shared and discussed with the shareholders has helped draw them all together in that common vision. And all these groupings are working in larger collectives, and so that adds strength to all of them. And so they're all, in terms of all of the farms, actually developing common strategies as amongst, a whole group of farms.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.